let's say you're in direct delta. We should be able to answer these questions now. Do you know about now direct delta now? Okay. Now my question. If they ask you update mode, it's fine, but they start asking questions like, let's say bus, using you've done all the installation and daily my delta loads are running into BW bus. Okay. Now let's say you're using direct delta. Every day deltas are running in info package in BW bus through process change. Now they say some data is been there's some inconsistency with the data in BW and ECC for sales order header data. How will you correct this? User is using some reports on the sales. He raises a ticket saying, but the data is inconsistent, that data is not proper. So how do you fix it? That's the question. That's the question they put to you. How will you fix it? He says, I'll check which document number is the one which is causing problem. You will have millions of document numbers. You will have millions. How does it make sense to compare every so many millions at least? Instead of what I would prefer is, instead of comparing at the document level, I know it's about you should compare and find where is actually the discrepancy. Yeah? What I would do is, instead of comparing at the document level, I would compare at more higher level, like say company code level or sales org level or something. Because company codes maximum we could have some 50 or 30 or something. Yeah? There might be some product where there's only 2 or 3 company codes. Then so in the BW for company code level I'll get the values. From the table from the company code level I get the value. Compare only the company code level. So if there's some documents difference, it might show some 1 or 2 company codes difference. Means there is some problem with the documents which are in that company code alone, not others. Then we can try to compare documents in that company code instead of comparing every company code. I can say in that company code, date wise, if you can capture, you can still basically should filter out, reduce the selections what you have to compare, and then compare and find out which document has got a problem. Okay. Now we have decided that 7722 was the document number which has got a problem. So how will you fix it? The sales order 7722 which is a cube is not matching with the ECC. Now how will you fix it? Go to VA02 to fix the problem. Let's say in the ECC table 7722 value is 8000, but in BW cube it is 5000. So how will you fix it? He's saying go back to ECC, delete 7 tables, run the statistical setup only for the document number 7722, fill the 7 tables. In BW do a full load. So when you do full load, where does the data come from? Save table. Only that document number comes in to data source. Run the DTP, load it to cube. Run. Cube will have 13,000. ECC had 8,000. My cube had 5,000. Now you reloading that 8,000. Then it becomes what? 13,000 to make it.
If you have directly as a cube, you don't have the DSL, then you would have the problem. Right? If you have the DSL,
I have a cube. He says if it is ODS, it anyway overwrites and sends 3000 right hand. Yes, but let's say I have a cube, then what will you do? Then do I need to do selective deletion of the document number? Go back to ECC, delete save tables, fill the statistical setup, then do init load, full load, and then take it into target. So you should have full control on the data flow, where it is going to where. Okay. Next, you did understand this point? How did I solve it? Next, he expects a question saying like this. I already had a data source with some 10 fields, LO data source, 10 fields, it was already initialized. it is already running in every day. Delta loads are running in production. Now apart from this 10, I wanted another new 2 fields, and I wanted to reinitialize it. See, you'll have development server, quality, production. In the production, the delta loads are running. In the development, you've done the changes with adding what? 2 more extra fields. Now you transport changes to what? Quality. Now during cutover activities, we schedule the downtime, then during cutover, you'll move these changes to what? Production, then reinitialize it, right? How will you do that? Got my point? See, continuously my delta loads, let's say it is Q delta, the data source enabled with Q delta, and every day the delta loads are running. Now I would like to reinitialize it. Means I need to reinitialize it, I need to send the changes and start the historical data again from start. How will it do? Changes I will not do in the production. I already done the changes in development, collected as a transport request, I will move it to quality. I just have to move this transport request to production so that the extract sector data source everything gets changed with the 2 new fields. How will you do this? Will it allow you to change the data source when the data is there in served tables? When the data is there in the queues? No, right? So what we normally in the classroom, I am just deleting those queues and in the real time you don't delete those queues like that. Let's say it is queue deltas are running. So before I move the transports to production, what I'll do during cutover activities, so all downtime is scheduled. So there will be no more new postings. First I'll delete served tables. Then will I have entries in extractor queue? Because the postings would have done previously. Now the postings are stopped, but there will be no new record coming into extractor queue, but there will be some old data. Then what I'll do, I'll run my B3 job once. Then when I do that, what happens? All the entries from extractor queue will come to what? Delta queue. Now extractor queue is blank. Why blank? Then I will run the B3 job, and there are no more new postings are happening. Now in delta queue, does it store data in 2 sets, delta and delta repetition? I'll go back to BW, run the delta load. Then what happens? All the delta records are brought into BW bus. So delta is cleaned up, but delta repetition is still there. You will still have entries. Then I'll do delta once again. When I do delta once again, it says 0, but I'm sending a confirmation to source saying the delta is successful bus. Now the delta queue is completely cleaned up. Your extractor queue is cleaned up. Delta queue is cleaned up. Served tables is also cleaned up. Yes, sir, boss. Now I'll move the transport. Now I will move the transport changes about adding new 2 fields to the extract structure, generating data source, writing code if there is anything. All those movements, I'll move the transport request to production. So the changes will go and sit into my production system. It's like as good as going into LBWE, maintaining everything. Same changes are recorded as a transport request, and I'm moving the changes to what? Production. So the changes will happen. Now, what are the 2 new fields I want? I want data for historical data also. What are the new 2 fields I've added? I want data to be filled for these 2, and same way I'll add those 2 info-pixel, info source, cube, everything I would have applied the same changes to what? In BW data flow also. Now I need to reinitialize my data again to reload data for those 2 new fields again. Then again what? Again delete set tables, fill the served tables, run the init load again. How can you run the init again? You should cancel the init what is run the init load again, go back to BW, schedule the B3 job, then start bringing delta loads. How many of you understood the way I was speaking in? That is important. If you are able to handle this kind of questions, then
One of the questions that was asked to me is not given long time.
yeah, he's saying if you are not given time for running served tables, there are multiple ways you can handle. He says, but they have not given you time for scheduling down. One is the first question is, let's say they have not given any time, then we can think about anything. Let's say they have not given any time. First thing what they will do is they will run the served tables with nothing. Okay, in BW you will do init without data transfer. You will do init without data transfer. What happens? You are just initializing it, but you are not bringing any historical data. And I'll formulate to ODS and then to cube. Okay, boss. Now when you do initialize delta, now from now any postings you are doing, will it be collecting them through delta? Will it be collecting through them to delta or not? Yes. During office hours, I will run statical setup also. Then what happens? Will it collect all the data into setup tables also? But while bringing in, there are some changes happening also. While bringing in, I know there are some changes happening also. I will do normally, and it gets in. I have ODS, right? It will go to override and handle my records. I still will have some discrepancies. Whatever I have, I'll have to do a setup table filling and reload them and override them with what? ODS. That is one option. Okay. One more option is, normally if this is your production ECC, right? If this is your production ECC. Same way you will have backup ECC also. When you say backup, same copy of production you will have in backup system. Getting what I am saying? So there will be two ECC systems of data source connected to my queue. One is backup ECC, one is what? Production ECC. Production ECC I don't have downtime. In backup ECC I will schedule downtime. On the same time I will do installation from the production. I will do installation from what? From backup system also. But deltas I will be processing from production system. You getting what I am saying? Say now it is 9 o'clock. Okay. At 9 o'clock I will do installation from backup system, and also from production I will do init without data transfer bus. And from backup I will do installation with the data bus. So now the status is the data what is in the backup is already loaded to your BW, and with the same data set in the production we have installed without data bus. And deltas I will process it from what? From production. That is also possible if there is a client who has got backup system. Yeah, possible. They can also think about using a backup system also. Backup means, say always your production server will have a backup system which is a straight, because if something goes down, immediately you will have something of mirror system under. They call it as mirror system, which is exactly same as your production. I can also use that mirror backup system as source system to initialize your historical data also. Yeah, that's what I am saying. Suppose if I have scheduled downtime at today, I will ask them to refresh this backup system by till tomorrow last. Then I will start doing. Then in production I will initialize it immediately. Then what are the changes they are doing from next second, it will be collecting into delta queue. But the changes till that day I need to collect them through historical transactions, which I will do it from backup mirror system.
So that's the case. Then won't it my source system should do source system?
Means you will have connection. You will have two connections. One is production connection. One is mirror system connection. Both.
So your data source will show twice, right? Because one will show up from your main
Yeah. You will have two data sources. One is of backup system. One is of production system. From production system, you will just do only init without data and enable your data source in the delta. It will be capturing those delta records. I will do nothing. But what are the data? The time before the installation is the backup system for me with all the data in it. From there, I will bring my historical data. That is also possible. Then once I initialize, then I schedule normal delta loads in from what? Production. That's what I will do. And one more, if you don't have a mirror system, then this is the option you do. And there might be straight away runs setup tables without even blocking the users. Let them post, okay. Whatever data is possible, I'll bring them to ODS. I'll do init without data transfer first. Keep collecting those delta postings from today. Let's say I want to start doing from today itself, but they're not stopping the system. I'll do init without data transfer, enable my data source for queue, and I'll keep capturing all the changes from today. Simultaneously, I'll do my what? Setup tables also. All the new changes are collecting into this bus. When I do setup tables, I'm also bringing historical data as well as new changes also. But I'll make sure I'll override those records by using ODS in the BW system. That is what we can. But we cannot guarantee 100% of exact data. After doing it, there will be some mismatches which we'll have to reload, re-simulate again those documents again. Whichever has got problem, yeah.
This is when you do init without data transfer, and then you do
I'll do init without data transfer, enable it delta as immediately as possible, then start capturing delta record. Let's say I already had 100. I did init without data transfer. But they are doing continuously posting. Let's say for the next 5 minutes, my target is, like say they have created 2 new transactions, change 1 transaction. Now the 2 new transactions, the change of transaction will be collected to what? To the delta queue. And I'm doing setup tables now. Will it collect that 1 or 2 records also? Will it collect that 1 or 2 records? So I have this 1 or 2 records. I have got 3 delta loads. When I'm loading it to ODS, will they can go and override? I'll collect this delta queues. Until I'm sending this, I'll not send this out. I'll be just collecting there. First, this data has to go in, then this data should go and override that.
So another question I have is, this was asked me, your LPW still has the data in it, and you transfer it, you change it.
You try?
You make some data source and has to the create fields, and then you.
When the data is in LPWQ, you cannot really do changes. Means if I do done in development, okay.
Right, you development, you transport it. So the question first thing was, will it allow that? So you transfer to the state.
Yes. That's what I was saying. If it is a real system, you will be doing it development. In the development, several tables are not filled, so you'll allow changes. In the quality, it will allow changes. But when you're doing transport, it will not allow. That's why during cutover activities, you'll drop the setup tables. That's why I was saying about reinitialization. I discussed about drop your setup tables, clean up your queues, then move the transports to production. Simple person. When you say you're moving transports, you should assume as if you're doing changes first. That's it. You're doing changes in development, recording into transport, transporting the same thing to production. It means what? It is as good as you're changing it. Many of you who practice in the lab, that is advantage. When you do that, you get error saying application component 11 has got data, cannot be changed. How many of you got this error? When you go to LBWE, when you expand application 11, when you try to maintain the extract sector, it says application level cannot be changed. That is happening because your setup table has got data. So the transport will fail. So during cutover activities, before you move the changes to the production, your main intention would be to clean up the queues. So setup tables, they'll delete it. But when it comes to queues, you don't delete actually. You basically clean. Cleaning is different. In the lab, in the classroom, I'm deleting, but you should not delete in the real environment. You just clean it. How to clean this queue? You'll block the postings. Then when you schedule V3 job, what happens? It collects all the Ws from all the LWs from extractor queue to delta queue. Now extractor queue is blank. You're not doing any postings are not allowed, right? So no new entry will come into extractor. This is blank. And you run delta load twice into BW so that it cleans up your delta queue also. Then move your changes to production. Move changes means then only you will be changing your extract sector with new fields, enhancing it, data, all those changes will be moved. Then you will start reinitializing it again. Yeah. What? So don't answer it as deleting. Answer it as we'll run V3 job, run the loads. Yeah. Flush the queues. Yeah. So he was asking me a question. See, in the real time, whenever you're doing some changes to data, so you don't do it in production. You'll do it in development environment. Then move the changes to quality. Quality to what? Production. He's saying in the production, the setup tables are not deleted. Now, if you're trying to move the transport, which will basically change your data source, will it allow or not? That's what I said. It will not allow. Moving transport changes, it is as good as changing your data source in production. Will it allow you when the data is filled in the queues? No. Not allowed. When the setup table has got data, not allowed for change.
In my case, what happened was, one of the days I was manually pushing, I was sitting in the back and pushing those, like cleaning those queues manually. And what had happened was some delta came in, recompiled into the queue. I was able to run the V3 job, it was still in RS7. So my transport went through. But then when I ran it disturbed my init. Messed up my init. So what I ended up doing was, I went into repeat delta. I looked at whatever document numbers had come in, I created a list of it, and then I had to manually save each of them in a separate table, then bring it to your product.
One by one. One by one you.
Exactly, and that was the only thing.
Yeah, he's saying, means it's like as good as what we discussed about data mismatch with one document. He had a data mismatch with, let's say, 100 documents. He said he is running statical setup with selectively only for those documents, one by one. They are not in sequence. We are using range double 7, double 2 to double 7, but it is not in range. He was just having single document separately. You have to fill all of them into separate tables, then run what? Then full upload to bring in those. But if you see, when you do init or full, it fetches from separate tables, right? If your target is cube, you can do full. But if your target is ODS, we should do repair full request. Right? Because ODS will not accept. Was you can do init full in any sequence if your target is cube, yeah. But if your target is if your target is ODS, if your target is ODS, after you have init and delta running, it does not accept full upload. So it has to be go to scheduler menu. Then what is here? Sorry, you set it as full here. Scheduler menu, then repair full request and select this checkbox. What is? Indicate request as repair request. If your target is ODS, but if its target is cube, you are okay to do delta. Okay, boss?
So in a repair full request, if you don't have a select table, which is going to be full of your list tables, like after
No. Either it is full or repair full, it actually fetches from select tables only. But only thing is, if your target is ODS, it is going to disturb the delta mechanism of the ODS. That's why when you do repair full, it will not disturb. When the target is ODS, when it is got init and delta, it will not accept full. It has to be repair full request. But cube is fine. It will not touch application tables. Never. It's always select table. Init repair full request is all select tables only. Delta repetition is all delta cube. Always.
This is for LU. I'm saying
Any application, any data source, you have repair full request. F5, everything you will have it.
F5 does not have select table.
No.
Then in this case, what will you do with repair against?
That's what I'm saying. Repair is nowhere concerned with the source. Whether application table or select table, nowhere concerned. That's what I'm saying. It is all dealt with the target. Because target delta management is what important. From ODS you going to load delta again to next level targets, right? If you don't want to disturb that mechanism, it will not accept full. It has to be repair full request. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. Whether you're doing with select tables in LO or in normal application tables in F5, there's no difference with repair full request from the source. It all deals with the target. If your target is ODS, only then you get a concept of repair full request. If target is cube, there is no question of repair full request.
So repair full, ideally, it compares whatever is missing before and then.
No.